Welcome again to the Ball Over Passion podcast. My name's Karen. I'm joined by CK Wave and Priv Arsenal Z. And this is basically another chilled football discussion to get some football out, talk about what's going on in the transfer market, talk about what's going on in the world of football. And I think the natural place to start is the preseason game we've just had today with Arsenal versus Chelsea at the Emirates. I wish I could have gone, but some people went, and it looked like a good day out. Who wants to go first? Let's kick off on some thoughts about it.
I think it was a decent game. The game should have finished 2-2, but there was no goal line tech. So it was 2-1, 2-1 to Chelsea. The game has caused a lot of uproar within the fan base, especially on Twitter and stuff. I think a lot of people took the game very seriously, and I think the rival factor is why people took the game so seriously, so heavily, that they're really complaining about the game. For me, I was never gonna rave about a win or a loss because it's a preseason game, and we do play Chelsea in 3 weeks to the day, so it's not that deep, the game result. But watching the game, I think the game flowed a lot. It was never one team necessarily dominating the whole time. It was not one-sided. Both teams had their small periods of exchanges, but it was 31 shots and stuff. It was a free-flowing game. I'm not sure. What do you guys think about the game, honestly?
Well, I think actually for periods of it, we looked like we were controlling it quite well. And like you going into it, I wasn't going to judge anything based on the result. I is a friendly, 100% a friendly for me. And I think Chelsea must have not got the memo because they were proper going into it. And obviously some of the challenges ended up injuring one of our most important players. Which I didn't. It looked like we were taking it seriously, but not to that level. We weren't going in and lunging into challenges, and it's quite frustrating when it clearly is a friendly for a good cause as well. It kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth when the other team is up to their usual dirty trick. I'm going to call out Chelsea on that because they always play like that against us, and might not even necessarily be fully Chelsea's fault either. Andre Mariner done an awful job at officiating and just kind of let everything go.
It was horrible. It's a horrible game, let's be real.
Yeah,
officiating wise. Yeah,
awful, and it kind of sets the tone. And everything else aside, that kind of pissed me off the most because it's right, we know what we're in for now. Every season we see the same thing, and every season we moan about the same thing. And every season people say, "Oh, it's just Arsenal fans moaning about the refs again." But it's there's a reason why we moan about the refs. Look at even in a friendly, they just let the team kick us to death, kick us off the park. And Tierney could have got injured as well because of it. And it's come on, man. It's a friendly. Get your cards out. You literally just let them do it. But yeah.
Was there any thoughts on this game?
I've got plenty, man. Honestly, I don't know where to start. I feel like I probably am taking the friendly a bit too seriously, mainly because I probably expected us to be a bit more prepared for the game. We've been, I feel like we've been doing well in preseason. There seemed to be a sense of direction in terms of the pressing, in terms of the build-up play, as well as the coaching patterns that you can see Arteta's working on, especially from the YouTube videos. I feel like just today we scrapped all of that and we just let it go. And I don't know. I feel like we dominated some parts of the game, but mostly it looked like we were just being overrun the entire game, and the same usual suspects like Leno, Bellerin, El Neni. I want to mention Xhaka, but he scored the goal. They were the ones that actually caused us to even concede the goals. So I don't know, man. It just felt like I didn't see any definitive progress from the pre-season to actually playing Chelsea. Now, when we play Tottenham next week, if we end up losing that game too, I feel like we are gonna see massive outcry on the fan base, especially in social media. I'm getting worried because
I think
there has to be some change, bro. And when I mean with some change, especially within the lineup, there has to be some definitive change there. We need to see the bench. Why are we having so many deadwoods on the bench? Why are we have Renarson? Why we have Kolasinac? Why are they still playing? Like, where are the days where we had the youth players on the bench? Remember in the Emirates Cup, Arsene Wenger always had 4 or 5 youth players in. Why are we still having these youth players? We've only given Balogun 90 minutes for 30 minutes in the whole preseason. I believe he's injured right now, but he still didn't play enough games for me. And then we had Omari Hutchinson play only 30 minutes this preseason. Kido Taylor-Hart hasn't played a single minute during preseason. And Miguel Aziz, why was he in the under-23s yesterday? Why didn't he play today? There's so many questions to be asked with the whole team, with the whole setup, with the whole lineup. And yes, I'm going to judge it based on the friendly, because the fact of the matter is we're not just working on the fitness in the preseason. We're definitely working on the direction and where we're trying to go with the team. And I feel like today was I just couldn't see it, and it made me really have a really negative outlook on the game. And I don't know. I spoke to Wave after the game as well, and I expressed my feelings. I was like, is this really what we're going to expect in this coming season, or is it going to look different? I don't know, man. I think I'm dipping away too much, but it's how I felt after the game.
But I kind of agreed with you to a certain extent as well. Like, it's just not even about the result for me. Like, we could have lost that game as long as I saw something that was slightly different. For me, it was the same mistakes, the same players that should have been moved on. And like you, I was also thinking, like, why are we still seeing these people play? I understand why you would keep a lot of the starting 11 that you would want to start the season with play, because you're practicing real time tactics or match plan or whatever. Like, you just want to build more of that cohesion and chemistry. I understand that, but then, like you said, why are you bringing someone like Kolasinac in? You're going to sell him. You know what I mean? And why? I think your mic's a bit quiet, Z.
No, I was saying there's no excuse for that. Honestly, when I'm looking at it like this, we are supposed to bring in players that are the future of the club, and now we have players like Omari Hutchinson, Miguel Aziz, Charlie Patino. They could have all been on the bench, but the fact of the matter is we didn't have them on the bench. Why are we having these players on the bench? And it goes back to last season. Last season I was defending Arteta with all my heart and soul, saying, "Nah, he actually gives a crap about the youth, regardless of what's happening with Balogun and Kiddo and all these other players." But I expected him to play these players in preseason. Yeah. I'm sorry, I did.
The only thing I'll say, the difference between when Wenger used to do it and when Arteta is obviously having his own preseason, is with Wenger, he already instilled his philosophy for years. You know what I mean, over decades. Whereas Arteta kind of is trying to fast track everything. So I can kind of see why he wouldn't fully fill up the team with youth, because preseason for Wenger's Arsenal was more of like a run out for the kids, but Wenger's teams previously had enough time to play with each other, and I feel like Arsenal at the moment is like a set of revolving doors for players, and there's so many players going in and out. I mean, this would make more sense if we actually had players going in and out, but at the moment we've only had 3 players come in and 1 go out. But this is what I imagine his plan would have been. I have no idea what's happened in that respect, because we were saying at the beginning of the window, right, we need to do this amount of business. We need to sign an attacking midfielder, central midfielder, backup left back, right centre back, right back, goalkeeper, and another backup midfielder. Yeah. Depending on whether Jacqueline is or not first team midfielder or backup midfielder, whatever. Anyway, that besides the point. So far, we've only done 3 of that, and we've only sold 1 player out of a myriad that we need to sell. And that's Guendouzi. How we haven't sold any of our homegrown players, I don't really know. And I think we're 2 weeks away from the Brentford game, and it's slightly slightly worrying now. I think at the end of July, when we were like, at the end of June, when it wasn't still, when nothing was clear. Obviously, we might have had deals happening in the background, but now that the Xhaka deal's fallen through, there's a little bit of friction with the Bellerin deal. You know, he might not go, or he might. It seems like he is on the way out, but then there's nothing out there about Willock or Nketiah or Maitland-Niles or Nelson. It's kind of just all gone.
Well, there is
quiet.
stuff about Maitland-Niles. Maitland-Niles is there's interest from Burnley. Let's not just completely go off the end. I mean, there are offers out there for players. If you look at a lot of the deadwood we have at the moment, we have Bellerin going out, who's looking like he might go out. Maitland-Niles is going out. The Newcastle interest is still there for Joe Willock, which I hate, but it is what it is. We still have players that are going on, and a lot of the players that you said at the beginning have backup left back, major issue, solved. Right centre back, solved. The backup centre mid, solved. I mean, we want another one. Obviously, I personally have my favourites, and I'm sure that you guys have your favourites. But to say that we've done nothing not addressing issues.
I'm not saying we haven't done nothing.
I understand that some players are staying. Like even I don't like Xhaka staying. I think he should leave. But I can accept that because I understand where the market is, and I'm not willing to pay to sell Granit Xhaka for £10 million. You might be wanting to. I don't.
Personally, you know where I stand on Xhaka. I said 12 million euros plus 3 million in add-ons is disgraceful. However,
yeah.
I even said before the window, I don't have a problem with him staying one more season as long as he's not in the starting 11. We can use him as a backup. He's much better than El Neni. There's no doubt about that. I would much rather have him than El Neni. I'd rather sell El Neni and keep Xhaka. But like from what I'm seeing and what it seems like we're doing and what we're not doing, seems like Xhaka's going to be in the starting 11 again. And if Partey didn't get injured today, it would have probably been a Xhaka Partey pivot that starts against Brentford. And that is what I said we could not be doing. That would have been a clear failure on everyone's.
Let me ask you guys something. When have we ever seen a Xhaka Partey pivot get outrun? I don't think so. They made mistakes, but in terms of running, in terms of controlling midfields, they're not a bad duo together. I mean, what is the issue with Xhaka? With Xhaka and Partey? It's just Xhaka. The thing is, what I don't like about that pivot is Xhaka's ill discipline. That's the only thing. His passing range, his ability to cover for Tierney when he goes to the left wing, the ability that you have to control and dictate the pace of the game. It's there. It's just that that Bozo can just get his head right and stop lunging into tackles and making silly mistakes.
Yeah, it's not just that for me with Xhaka. I think his non-existent press resistance is a massive flaw in his game. And I think against more intense teams that run at you, that is where his Bozo moment comes from. Because as soon as he gets pressed, he can't get out of it. Like if you watch someone like Bruno Guimaraes, he is much more suited to playing that game, like the game that we need to play. You need physical monsters in that midfield who are technical as well. Xhaka is technical in a different way when he's kicking the ball in a straight line.
Let's be honest, right? Bruno, I know you are being honest, but I'm saying I'm trying to say that I'm going to be honest with how we're talking. I like the Bruno Guimaraes link, but I do also think that there are better out there than Bruno Guimaraes. I think the likes of Boubacar Kamara should be involved. Koopmeiners should be involved. These obviously Bissouma is still available. There aren't reasons to say that that to settle on Bruno Guimaraes because he's the latest hot thing. I still think there are much better options out there.
But I think he's an upgrade on Xhaka, and that for me is what we should be aiming for. Just an upgrade, someone who can actually play with the intensity of the league. I think he is a very suitable upgrade.
Do you think that he has the physical profile to play in the Premier League, Bruno Guimaraes?
Of course.
I think he could.
That's
guys, come on! You've seen he's got to get in the gym. He's got to get in the gym like massively. If he's going to be starting for Arsenal Football Club in the Premier League, he's not someone that I would start immediately. Hell no.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough to think so, but I think the fact that he can actually play on the turn
He can play on the turn. He does have good half a turn ability, as does someone like Boubacar Kamara, who I would personally say is much more physically ready for the league. But both of these players, I don't think, are ready to come in and be like, okay, I'm grabbing this place. I just don't. I don't think so. I think that in terms of the only player that I would see right now in this current market that could come in for Granit Xhaka at this moment and like take over is Bissouma. Yves Bissouma. I don't think there's another one out there in terms of links that we've actually been that have been linked to, people we've been linked to, or people that we've seen that there are some movement on in terms of the thing. I mean, Coop Miners maybe, but it's a similar profile, and you don't know how he's going to adapt to the league. I just think that if we're going to go for a Xhaka replacement that's going to start, they need to be a replacement that will put Xhaka to shame.
But the thing is, I don't think that would be very difficult because Xhaka came into.
It's very difficult. He's still one of the best deep line playmakers in the league, and in European football.
I think he came into the league and didn't adapt. So, that's not a worry for me because we've already got a player that has failed to adapt to the league.
For me, we need a profile 100% to bring in that limits the amount of games Xhaka plays. If Xhaka stays, then fair.
100%.
Bring in a midfielder that limits the amount of games, because for me, Xhaka is not consistent enough to play 38 games a season. I've not seen it for the past many seasons.
Names, people. Give me some names.
In terms of to replace
to do
Xhaka,
that role that you're suggesting. Can I have some names for that?
Bruno Guimaraes, I would have taken him like 2 seasons ago when he was about to leave. Anyways,
yeah.
I feel like I'm not so worried about his physical profile again, because that's something he can adapt to, and that's something that
Yes, of course, but you can't assume him to come in and start straight away if he's going to get muscled off the ball by the likes of, I don't know, a Douglas Costa at Aston Villa or someone like this. You need players that are going to be able to come into the league.
We're overestimating the whole physical attribute, because when we look at someone like Jorginho, for instance, he doesn't have the best of physical attributes, but he doesn't have the same flaws that Xhaka has, and that's what enabled Chelsea to
I get that. I get that. It's not pace and power always. Of course not.
Bruno Guimaraes has that. He's got the pace. You know what I mean?
He's got pace. Yeah. It's half of that. He's got a lot of pace.
And he's got the technique. I think
he's a great ball progressor, 100%.
There's a certain style you can play, and like Kamara was one of the names I would have said as well. Kamara, Guimaraes, either one. They're both upgrade on Xhaka for me. So it's like when these two guys are available, or we could.
Kamara is on his last year of his contract, so if he's not going to be as a lot. I still think you could get Kamara and Maddison for 90 million, and easily, or even 85, or maybe even 80. Because if we can sort out the Bruno the Maddison deal for, I don't know, 65, he's not going to cost 20. He's going to cost about 15, something like that.
So let me ask you then, because it's something that I've been seeing all over Twitter as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're going to say, but if you had a choice between Xhaka staying and signing Lautaro and Maddison, would you choose it over signing Maddison and a central midfielder?
Wait, let me. So get rid of Xhaka.
Maddison, or Maddison and a central midfielder?
Maddison central midfielder. Any day of the week. Yeah. Any day of the week. That's the main thing for me. I mean, my position is still the same. Look, I think we need an upgrade on central midfield. I don't think Xhaka is good enough, but I want to be. It's the same thing. It's the same principle as Kroenke and Ek. I think that there is. I don't want the Kroenkes in, but I want, before I get the Kroenkes out, I want to see there's a plan and a project that I can believe in before I say, okay, let me say this is it. This is what I want. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I can't just be like, okay, that's just chuck him in the bin just for sake for.
I think the whole takeover thing's a little bit more complicated because there's more.
No, but it's the principle.
There's more elements to it. With this, of course, just one player in or out. If the player performs, then
but it's an analogy. It's the principle that I'm talking about. I'm not saying that they're the same at all. but yeah, what I'm trying to get across is that with the whole Granite situation, I'm with what you said earlier. With I'm not someone that is too bothered about him staying or going this season. My transaction sheet has him going 2022 with Aubameyang. I think they both leave next year. I don't think he stays. I don't think they stay this year and then leave next year. Um, I it's not that big a concern. I think we need backup. I think we need someone to come in. I've recently gone to the Football Reference crowd, and I can see the advantages of someone like Bruno Guimaraes, and I can see the likes of Boubacar Kamara. I can see how they're going to come in and influence the team very, very well, especially Kamara. I actually have him over Guimaraes like easily. Like he's a monster in progression. He's someone that has his middle third interceptions and tackles are insane. The numbers are literally insane. They rival even Sumare. So let's put it that's the level we're talking about. So I mean, CK, what do you think about this whole situation with the central midfield? I mean, who are the targets would you like to see if we do need someone to come in for
Well,
Xhaka?
with the central midfield, so this season we'll probably start with we'll probably have Partey, Lokonga, Xhaka, El Neni, and I think we need one more.
I do too.
I probably want all the options available. Probably Kamara because I think he's the best defensively of all them.
Good man.
And statistically, he is better than Bruno
Yep.
at passing. So
Not just passing, the tackling as well, man. The tackling
yeah,
is
I'm just saying
yeah.
because Bruno, they're both very good players and both very young. But I
Mhm.
think Bruno is more of the deep line playmaker sort, and I think
I was saying this to someone yesterday, right? At the moment, we have. I mean, obviously, let me be clear. These are not the same level, okay? But at the moment, in terms of profile-wise, we have Vieira and Petit, and we need Vieira's Gilberto now. We don't need another Petit. We need another Gilberto now to actually partner him. And that's obviously not the same level. Calm down. But we have the Vieira profile in.
No, yeah. Comparing profiles, and
yeah.
I agree.
So
but
we have a
Gilberto
Petit. We
was
need a Gilberto now.
So of course we're going to go for a Gilberto, you know.
No, I mean,
like his game was more all-rounded, and that's exactly what we need. Someone with an all-round game. Xhaka is a very one-dimensional player. We know what he can do. We also know a lot of what he can't do, which is the reason why we can't go into next season with him starting. You know, I said before, even on this pod, I don't mind. I wouldn't have minded him staying on one more year as a backup. We need another central midfield signing that can oust him, that can partner party, and we can go in and comfortably know, right, if we get pressed, we can get out of it. At this point, from what I've seen from Lokonga, I'm willing to give him a chance just to see.
I'm willing to give him a chance as well.
What he
100%.
can do. What he can do, because he's been better than El Neni the few games I've seen him. I haven't seen El Neni because El Neni's had very good performances. I'm not going to take that away from him, but what I've seen Lokonga do, I haven't seen El Neni's ceiling even anywhere close to that.
It's been pre-season El Neni again. He's had good performances, but I don't see him continuing it throughout the season.
No, 100% not. But this is the problem with a lot of our players that they show greatness in glimpses, but what makes a great player is consistency. And a lot of these players who we need to move on, they completely lack that consistency.
I just want to bring up a point that I've just seen as well. Like you know how we're saying it's we're not selling players, we're not selling this, we're not selling that, and we're not getting our youth in the team, which is obviously something that is is a major issue. We need to get these players out. So I just want to look at the Chelsea team today. I mean, Chelsea turned up with a lot of players they need to get out. The likes of Drinkwater or Barkley, Batshuayi, Malang Sarr, Zappacosta. That Sterling bloke I've never heard of before, but apparently they're trying to get rid of him. Chalobah, I could go on. Like their squad is full of players, as like ours, that we need to get rid of. And it's hard selling. I'm not saying it's an excuse, but this market is so like clustered and sort of like stagnant. It's a very, very there's not a lot of deals going through. Not a lot of clubs are active, and it's not an excuse. Let's get that out of the way. It's not an excuse. But I'm just saying that it's a very, very tough market to sell in right now, and you're not going to be able to. You're going to have. Because the thing is, the same people today who are criticizing. I'm not saying you two, but the same people today are criticizing the administration for terminating all those contracts in January and getting rid of players. Is now the same people that want them to terminate the Kolasinac contract and just get people up for no money. So there has to be a sense of consistency there. I think that you two have obviously had that consistency. I think you both have understood what happened in January and want the same thing to happen now. But there are a lot of people that are saying one thing in January and another thing now. It doesn't really make any sense.
I think there's a massive difference, because one thing, when we obviously decided to terminate Ozil's contract and also Mustafi's, I feel like that was a very good step forward. But the fact is, we shouldn't be praising them for doing that. Why we shouldn't be praising them for doing that is because they should have been out the door already. So that's just them doing the bare minimum. So again, if they manage to terminate Kolasinac's contract, again, we shouldn't be praising them for doing that.
No.
In fact, we should be criticizing them for not being able to even sell him for £1 million or something, or even 500k. I don't know. Sell him, just get him out of the books without it being a compromise to our own books. That's one thing we should have done. So we shouldn't be praising them for doing that. So I feel like there's a fine line between actually looking at how we need to sell these players. A lot of these players, the reason why they're not being sold is because I feel like there is someone within the Arsenal department. I don't know if it's Richard Carlick or if it's Edu. They do not know the fine line between what's valued to Arsenal and what's valued to other clubs, and that's where there's a massive difference. And it's probably the main reason why we couldn't get rid of Xhaka. We still haven't got rid of Bellerin and some of the other players. There needs to be a massive middle ground. Look, you also mentioned Chelsea. They're having a lot of players like Zappacosta, Batshuayi. I was in the team. Again, that doesn't really affect Chelsea. It never has. They are not a team that has one in and one out. They'll bring in as much as they want in, and they'll leave as many out as well. So it doesn't really affect them either. And they don't really care if they sell these players.
It's not about caring though. It's about the market not being at the place where people are selling. The people are selling for players right now. There's not a lot of deal movement.
I think it kind of looks especially bad for us because we've been always known for being notoriously bad sellers. So when there's no movement again for our outgoings, it kind of gets people's backs up and they're on edge and they're ready to kind of lose their shit. And I think,
and that's with everything.
All your points are completely fair. Like, of course, it's not a seller's market. Every single club in Europe, except for the British clubs, are broke because of
COVID and the Super League or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's Super League and the lack of Premier League TV money. We are the most well-paid clubs without fans having to attend stadium.
I mean, look at Real Madrid and Barca.
Like, obviously, that's going to rectify itself. So that's understandable that this season no clubs have got money, so it's really difficult to shift players. However, I do think you kind of have to draw the line at only getting rid of Guendouzi with only a month left as not being good enough. I think there could have been.
I can agree with that. I don't think it's. I'm not saying it's rosy. I'm not saying that it's. I'm saying there are. I'm trying to show that there are reasons for what's been happening. I don't think it's good enough at all. I think we should have at least had, I don't know, Maitland-Niles or Nelson or someone, Eddie or someone like that shouldn't have out the door by now. It's not okay. But the point is that we are where we are, and there are reasons how we got here. And I'm trying to give the full context for what's happened in this market so far. And the market at this moment in time isn't one where you can say, okay, Okay, so Juventus can't afford Locatelli. They're trying to sign him on a 2-year loan. You've got Inter who are trying to sell one of their best assets in Martinez.
Well, they have to make an €80 million profit.
Even after they've sold Hakimi, they're still trying to sell Lautaro Martinez. You've got Real Madrid broke. Barca can't register players. Like the French league is broke. Germany don't seem to be chilling. They're just doing what they usually do, just buy from within. Like all of the leagues, that we could be selling to are inactive, and they're not wanting to do things. They're not wanting to be involved in the market at the moment in time. Especially the best advantage, the best example I can give you is someone like Sassuolo right now, who are trying to sell Locatelli, are just constantly in the media trying to get this guy his fee, because they know how desperate he is to leave and how much money they can recoup for him. But no one's biting because of the fee involved. And you've got the likes of Juventus, who literally can't even. They've offered a 2-year loan deal with the obligation to buy. That's how broke they are. So
my problem is with this entire thing is the fact that we've gone into this window saying that this is probably going to be our best windows in a long time.
Yeah, I hate the hyperbole as well. I can't stand the hyperbole.
Well, that was the word. We're going to be spending the most money we can, and then we're looking at that window and we're still falling on the players that we have in our club. Again, if this was Chelsea, they wouldn't even give a crap about the players that are in the club. They'll probably loan them out, but they would want to improve their team with those players, with the money that they have to invest. And I feel like this is what we should have done. We should have, regardless of getting players out, we should have got the players in. And then, if we needed to loan these players out, then fair enough, we do that. Because at the end of the day, because this was probably our only chance to improve this window. I don't think we'll ever get an opportunity in the next few seasons to have a window like this. Why? Because a lot of the teams will start picking up their revenue. There's going to be a different opportunity. Because why? Also, these other clubs, they might even end up in the Champions League, and we might drop out. There's so many different reasons. I feel like we should have taken the advantage. Again, we're playing one game a week as well. That's a massive advantage to take. We could have had a good starting 11 and trumped up the league. There's so many reasons, and we still, I feel like we didn't take. We just didn't have it in our minds to actually go in and do that. We're not proactive enough. That's the word. We're not proactive enough. I feel like we're too reactive, and we're waiting for something to happen for us to go in and improve the team. I think it will take us a loss to Brentford, regardless if it's hypothetical or not.
That's a silly argument. No, that's silly, man. Look, how is a loss to Brentford going to change your entire transfer policy? That's silly, man.
Shall I tell you something that will change our transfer policy? I think the return of Xhaka and the falling through of the deal, because I think they were definitely looking for a central midfield target.
Yeah,
and we've got a tendency to cut corners when it comes to these kind of things. Especially with these owners. So I think with the return of Xhaka, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see.
I've not personally said that the Brentford match, if we lose, it will have a massive effect on the window. I never said that, but I feel like the intensity will definitely increase. It's happened in the past where we've lost against West Ham. We went mad in the window. We lost against Man United. We went mad in the window.
Yeah. Where's that kind of ferocity at the beginning? Because surely going into this window after getting knocked out to Villarreal and finishing 8th, you would think, shit, alarm bells are ringing, all hands on deck, let's go a bit mad and go all out in the window. The way we've seen us move, I just don't get the sense of that. I understand other people who don't get the sense of that.
Can we distinguish between So can we just distinguish between going mad on tons of players and going mad on a few players that will change? You don't have to change every player to go mad.
No.
It's literally about to go from. You need to focus on positions that you know you're weak at, and then increase the starting 11. Improve the starting 11 to the point where you're comfortable with it. We've addressed the backup positions. Now we need to go hard. Now is the time. Again, it's not acceptable that we haven't signed a central midfielder or a cam. It's not acceptable at all.
We haven't signed a central midfielder or a cam.
I know, it's not okay.
So this is what I'm saying. What I can see right now, we're not going all out, which is what we should have been doing from the beginning. So right now where we are, we haven't done enough. So looking back,
but we've been making bids the entire bid. It's not been going out. It's just it's not successful.
Why are we waiting for Leno to leave for us to sign a number one keeper?
So it doesn't get bloated, like we did with the centre backs when we had 9 centre backs.
That makes no sense again.
No, but you sign a number one keeper and you just make Leno number 2.
When Liverpool had an issue with Karius, they signed they signed what's his name, Allison. And when they had an issue with Mignolet, they signed Karius, and then they signed Allison.
But
They
they
didn't
put
really care
Karius
about
on
this
loan.
one. Again, so that's what we should have done, or we should not register.
We literally tried to put
Leno.
Ronaldo on loan.
Forget Ronaldo. I'm not talking about Ronaldo.
No, but
You
you
have
said
to,
you're saying you have to
You're
put at
saying we
least
should
one
sign a
keeper on
new
loan.
keeper.
I
But
feel
if
like
you sign a
again
new keeper, you still have Okonkwo, Ronaldo, and Leno.
we're not being proactive enough to make sure that the starting 11 is good enough to compete. That's
So
what I'm trying to
wait,
say. I feel like we're waiting
I really
for
don't get this.
goalposts to move. We're waiting for goalposts to move. We're waiting for Leno to say, okay, I will leave. Why can't we say, okay, Leno, if you don't leave, we will remove you from the squad. You'll be vanished from the squad, and that's it. That's how we
Because
should.
we
We
did
should
that
be
last
ruthless.
year, and we did that
We didn't
last
do
year,
that last.
and
We
it
didn't do
caused
that
problems
last year.
it caused problems in the dressing room. We told Ozil to leave, he didn't. It caused problems in the dressing room. Why would we do that again when it didn't work last year?
I mean, I don't think Leno has anywhere near the influence Ozil had at the dressing room.
Exactly. It doesn't.
It doesn't matter. It's the risk. It's the risk.
The reason why the Ozil one affected because we glaringly needed an attacking midfielder at the time, and Ozil
We
could have
glaringly
filled
need a goalkeeper now. We glaringly need a goalkeeper now. Like if you saw that performance today, we glaringly needed a goalkeeper now.
We do glaringly need a goalkeeper. We do, but we need a glaringly need a
that kind
goalkeeper.
of backs up the point of we should
It's
be
not
signing
Leno.
a goalkeeper then.
Yeah, we should be signing a goalkeeper.
We would have. So we tried to loan out Runnison, and the deal failed at the last hurdle. So now you still have 3 like pro keepers there. Why would you sign a 4th when you just like gave all these guys?
We are still gonna
Send Runnison to the under 23s. Honestly,
we are still going for a homegrown keeper. That's still gonna happen. But why are we still going for a homegrown keeper when we should be looking for a number 1 keeper that takes over Leno's place? Why aren't we doing that? Why? Because we're still waiting for Leno to say, okay, I want to leave, or to find out that there's a club that's interested in Leno. We are not proactive enough in that sense. We should be ruthless.
What do you suggest we do with the Leno thing? Then?
I'm telling you right now, we should be bringing a keeper in and then immediately saying that Leno, you are not playing as a number 1 anymore. Strip him off the number 1 and just let him rot on the bench. That's how you should move.
So what about Runnison and Okonkwo?
Okonkwo can be the third choice keeper. Ronaldo doesn't need to be registered in the squad. He's not really a massive asset to the club. He can be expelled from the squad and he can be loaned
cheap
out.
And he's not on massive wages.
It's not that deep. It's happened before. It's happened before when we bought Emiliano Viviano. He barely played the game and he wasn't even in the squad, but we just bought him for numbers. Again, it doesn't really matter. I feel like we should have just gone in with the number 1 keeper and just played and just play him. Take the L, because why are we waiting for Leno to leave, man?
Why are we waiting for Runnison to leave? That's the bigger issue. Like Leno, you can put him on the bench. We don't need him to leave.
You know what's going to happen?
I don't know. Obviously, there must be some sort of financial implication.
No. Let's not do it's gonna, because we don't know what's going to happen. It's gonna is not something that I'm doing. We're not doing hypotheticals and just saying, okay, this is going to happen. This is going to happen.
It's not a hypothetical. It's been happening with Arsenal for years and years, and regardless if it's a new regime or not, it's taking an action that's a deficit at the club for us to take another action. That's what I'm trying to say. We are not proactive enough, and I feel like we cannot argue with that.
I'm not saying we're not being proactive enough, but there's a difference between saying, okay, we have a number 1 goalkeeper and we're gonna just go add another number 1 goalkeeper and then not get any sort of transaction out of the club. If you're saying to me that okay, buying number 1 will force Leno out, that's a different issue. But if you're saying we just keep him and then do not register players and then just put people on the bench,
it doesn't matter. Look,
it doesn't mess.
Chelsea had Kepa.
I think you need to stop comparing us to Chelsea, because Chelsea
forget Chelsea. Then we can. I can bring Liverpool in. I can bring Manchester City in, because they did that with Joe Hart. It doesn't Joe Hart. They brought in was it Bravo, Joe, and then they brought in. So it doesn't really matter.
Joe was on the bench.
That's it. They didn't really care. They didn't really care if Joe Hart was the number 1. They didn't wait for Joe Hart to leave.
There's a difference between what you said, because we already have 3 keepers right now, and you're saying bring another one, so 1 won't be in the squad. They didn't kick someone out of the squad. It's a difference.
But I'm not gonna lie. You know, Okonkwo just got promoted. Okay, so you either send Okonkwo back to the under 23s or don't register Runnison. I personally just don't register Runnison, because Okonkwo's obviously earned it, and Gunnarsson is obviously someone we're trying to get rid of. He's not a massive asset, like Z said. It won't matter that much if we don't register him. We didn't register loads of players last season. I think
And it caused
what
us
we need to.
problems.
Yeah,
I
okay,
don't think
but I
Gunnarsson
think,
has a
but I think
massive
the bigger problem is for us is not having a good goalkeeper. Not having a goalkeeper that can play with our style, that can actually pass from the back. Did you watch today's game and think, yeah, we should go into next season with Leno? I don't think one.
No,
You
I
guys
don't think
know I
anyone.
hate Leno more than you. It's not about Leno.
Yeah,
It's about the squad. It's about
Yeah, it's
they
about
don't
squad
want to risk.
management.
They know how important this season is, and they don't want to risk causing the dressing room unrest. That's their. I get why they do it. I don't agree, but I get why they're not going to risk putting someone out of
Yeah.
the squad, but coming training every day and complaining, "Oh, when am I going to play Gaffer?" It's going to cause problems. Like they don't want to risk that. That's what I'm saying.
but wasn't Leno the guy that wanted to leave at the end of last season and then realised no one wanted him? So it's kind of upped his performance a
Yeah.
little bit, and now wants to stay. It's like, come on, man.
It's stupid. I don't want
I
him
don't
here.
like Leno.
No,
I really
I don't want him either. So
I
I don't
really
really
want
care
him
about his
Can we
feelings.
all agree that we do not want Leno as a number one? Can we
But
at least
why
agree
do you
on
care about
that?
his feelings
I think
then?
we-
Why
I think we
do you
all
I
care
don't care about his
his
feelings. I care about the squad. I care about how we're
Yeah,
managing the squad.
exactly.
That's what I care about.
The moment he said, "I want to leave," we should have gone in for a keeper and signed
But that's
him.
in the
We shouldn't have
past.
waited.
Of course, we should have done that. But it's
It
gone
is
now.
in the
But we can
past.
still do that. It's not too late. The window's still open.
Yeah,
If we don't do
100%.
it by the end of the
Yeah,
window,
I'm more than happy to bring in another goalkeeper.
It's
I'm
a
more than
failure
happy
of
to
a
bring
window
another
if we
goalkeeper.
don't. 100%. It's a failure of a window.
It's a
we
failure
don't
if we sign everything else but not a keeper.
it
Bro,
will
we
still
need
be a
to-
failure
There's
to a
more.
certain
There's
extent.
We don't-
Less
more
of a
glaring
failure.
issues than keeper. There are
I really
glaring
disagree.
issues
I
in this
think
squad than keeper.
I think Leno is a big
Bro, we are
blemish on our
one
team,
hamstring
and I think
injury away
once we replace
from
Leno,
bloody Willian at Cam, man.
I
We're
think once
one
we replace
hamstring
Leno,
injury
we'll see a
away.
big change. But I don't think it's a failure of a window if you
also a
do
Leno, but also a Leno Bozo moment away from Ronaldo as a backup keeper as a starter keeper for Arsenal. So
No, I think Okonkwo will get in ahead
These
of
are
him.
serious ifs, like serious. That's like
No,
saying-
but my point is that
forget
there's creativity issues in this squad that
Yeah,
matter
I
so
agree.
much more than a goalkeeper right now.
I agree.
So much
I
more.
agree. 100%.
That's the priority.
If ESR gets injured, we're finished.
We're
Like,
finished.
Literally, we're
100%.
finished. But this is something that we were talking about earlier. And listen, that doesn't take away from everything else. That's fine.
No.
I think in terms of importance, every single position that we've got left now to sign is pretty important. I think attacking midfielder is probably the most important.
Yeah.
Central midfielder is probably the second most important, and kind of on par with right back as well. Because I'm not happy with Chambers starting right back. He's not fast enough.
He's not
He's got
starting
everything
right
else.
back.
He just doesn't. He's literally too slow. He's too slow to be.
But you guys know how
too-
much I love Chambers. I don't think he's a starting right back either.
No. I know.
So
And
yeah, so
I don't think Leno. I think Leno is exactly the same. He can't play ball. We can't not have a ball playing goalkeeper.
no, 100%. Look,
So
for me, we're arguing over the same thing. Like it's Cam, CM, right back, and then goalkeeper. That's the order for me. I think that's the order priority.
I think it's Cam and then CM right back goalkeeper on the same level for me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. But the point is, there is a different level of priority right now. I think that if we can get a good goalkeeper in, I think that's obviously something we do. But if it's at an expense of signing or not being able to, or being able that we miss out on something more important, I'm willing to keep him. He's not like we can go back in January. It's not that like we have no issues with.
It will be a massive detriment to the team. I'm telling you right now. If we need to sort out that goalkeeping position, I feel like we're underestimating the importance of having a goalkeeper that's reliable. Because the fact is, imagine it's a season where it's very tight. His mistakes or whatever it will cost us throughout the season, man.
Any position you don't fix.
Any position is like that, though. Literally, any position.
With Leno, if it was my decision,
let the Bellerin mistake today. It cost us the game.
Since last season, if it was my decision, Leno would be gone. But it seems that they have more trust in maybe Leno than others, and I would get a keeper, but I wouldn't do it at the detriment of.
Which keeper then? If is Onana still viable?
Yeah,
can we get?
I would bring in. I would bring in Neto. I would bring in Onana. I would bring in anyone over Leno, bro, that can actually kick the ball.
So are we back in on the Ramsdale situation then?
No.
So
his distribution is not good enough. I don't understand the Ramsdale situation. He's too expensive and he's not good enough. So that for me, no.
Like for me, my window includes Sam Johnston. I think Sam Johnston will be fine. I think
he's better than Ramsdale. Listen, at the moment we could do with a stopgap. So I agree with you on the
That's the
fact
point. That's the whole thing. It's not
a bigger priority. Yeah. But we can't go into the season with Leno.
Yeah.
That is kind of what I know. And watching today again, it's like we can't. He can't kick a ball. He can't kick a ball, so we can't play our football with him. How many mistakes did we see from him today?
I don't know, man. It was
At least three. At least three huge mistakes.
Three. Yeah.
Yeah, like huge. Like they could have each been a goal. And one of them wasn't.
White saved him. Let's be real.
Yeah, like he's completely rattled. He's just a rattled guy. He doesn't know what he's got no composure.
No confidence.
Yeah,
he had this thing today where he was trying to be this mega distributor. You could see that he was like trying to be.
He's
trying to come out.
To instructions, and it's a bit late because they've been telling him for the whole year.
Yeah.
Don't go long, and he's finally listened to it, but he just has no composure, and he's putting us in positions where he's waiting till Kante is right behind Xhaka, then he passes to him like, what's your problem, man? As the keeper, you can see everything in front of you. Xhaka has his back to everything, so you're the one with the eyes. You have to tell people.
But listen, I always think those situations are kind of on both players, more so Leno, but if Xhaka had a bit of guile and athleticism to him, he could have got out of that situation.
Bro, it's too risky. It's too risky.
I understand that. But if you did it to Party, that is less likely to happen.
But still, there's too much risk to be playing that ball. That's all on the goalkeeper.
He did it to one of our most mobile players in El Neni.
Like an El Neni against.
No, El Neni messed up himself in that game. To be fair.
Yeah, I know.
He literally let himself get tackled in the penalty box. Like that's unacceptable.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, but think about the percentage you just said in the penalty box. Why is he getting the ball in the penalty box under pressure?
He tried to dribble past two players.
Yeah, I know.
It was instant pressure. I've seen El Neni do it before, where he receives the ball under pressure and he looks and he gives it. He's very good at that. But this time he got a little bit cocky. For it's a pre-season game. At the end of the day. Maybe he might not have tried it in a serious game, but that was El Neni's fault. Yes, he got the ball not in an ideal place, but he's got it in worse positions and come out of it fine. This situation, he tried to dribble past two players and got tackled, and it ended up as a goal. I think it's slightly different to what happened today, where Leno literally passed it to Xhaka with Kante literally right up his arse. But listen, we're all arguing the same thing anyway. Leno's not good enough. El Neni's not good enough. I don't think Xhaka's good enough. Bellerin's not good enough. Chambers isn't good enough to start. We've just got so many players that I can just see. I guarantee you, it's going to be a Xhaka El Neni pivot against Brentford.
I don't think so. I honestly do think it might be Xhaka Lokonga starting against Brentford.
I hope so. I really
do think so, because I think that especially I want to see what he starts with against Tottenham, because the last game before of pre-season is an indicator of what you go into with the first game of the season. So
I think it also depends on Partey, because if Partey's only out for 7 days, then he'll play against.
So wait for the scan, people. Once we get the scan back, then we can have this sort of conversation about the Brentford game. I'm just that whole situation with its a syndesmosis tear, high ankle sprain. It's just like, come on, guys, wait for the scan.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor, so I can't.
No, I know, but like the point is you have to wait for. You can't just say just seeing the injury that it's this. And the one he chose...
It didn't look good, though, did it?
The one he chose is literally the worst case scenario.
And the still images... I think putting around the still image is dumb.
I swear his foot was facing the other way. It looked mad.
Yeah, still images were always...
No offense and anything if someone does listen to this, but like that's not... I don't like the way that happened. Like, I don't like someone just saying the worst case scenario has to be the case. Like it's just an opinion, but like it's just sad. I feel like that we're going to these. Like, I understand that when the season is coming, and it's coming in a couple of weeks, but like I want to see games. I'm tired of this window. I want to see some games. I want to see what we're doing. I want to see where we're at, because we start rough and we start hard. We start fast. So I want to see.
But is it not indicative of how we are currently moving, that a couple of, I would say, me and Z kind of had a positive outlook on this season. A couple of like fans with a positive outlook are now kind of getting this sense of dread. And
that's individual opinions, man. There's individual opinions, man. And honestly, I don't really see that it's sort of. I mean, I understand your point, but I don't see it being something that I'm just looking at it and being like,
I feel like
okay, the fan base is turning. Why are we not all turning? No, it's just what it
No,
is,
no, no,
man.
no. Of course. Listen, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I just think from what I've seen so far, I'm not massively confident
That's
that we're
fair.
gonna
That's fine.
that we're gonna get all
Perfectly
the
fine.
business done. And I said it from the beginning. I'll believe it when I see it. And there was a moment where I was like, oh, I'm seeing it. I'm believing it. And then it's kind of gone back to right. I'll believe it when I see it because now
I
there's
mean,
not much time left.
you guys know
We've got
me.
four
I
more
only
positions to
believe
sign.
things when they come on the website. I'm not someone that believes anything, any links or any rumors. I don't believe any of the journalists until I see it on the website. I don't believe in any of it. I don't believe what we're doing at all. I just think we have to see where we're at. I don't. What with me, I will judge this window at the end of this window.
At the end. Yeah, that's fair enough.
I don't.
Same.
I'm not going to
Same.
get emotional about what's happening during the window. I will judge this window at the end of the window.
But I just don't have a good feeling.
That's fair. That's fair. That's
When it comes
fair.
to,
I can
for me, it's not
understand
looking
that.
great. It's not looking great. Come the end, hopefully, I was just being
Yeah,
paranoid.
of course. And
But
if it comes that we don't do any more business, mate, I'm with you. You get what I'm saying? I'm not saying that. Like,
I don't think, just for the record, I don't think we're not going to do any more business. By the way, I think we're going
no.
to probably
It's the
sign
point
two
I'm
more players.
making.
I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
I just have a feeling we're not going to do all the business we needed to, which is 7 signings and get as many players out as possible.
I
I
don't
know
think
it's a
that
lot to ask
that
anyway.
was ever going to
Yeah, but
happen.
that's what we needed. That's how serious our window was. That's what we needed. We needed 7 signings. We needed an attacking midfielder, 2 central midfielders, a right back,
A backup left
right
back.
centre back, a backup left back, and a goalkeeper. That is what we needed. And as far as I'm aware, that is what the club were targeting as well. So they thought this is possible. So the fact that if it comes to the end of the window and they say that wasn't possible, then why did you think it was in the first place? Why did you waste all this time? You know what I mean? Anyway, we'll judge it when it comes to the end of the window, but that's what I'm saying. This was a huge window. We had the plan set out, and we haven't. It doesn't seem like we're executing it right, and it always seems like there's an excuse. And I don't want to start making excuses.
The one thing it is with me is that I understand people are frustrated. I think everyone's frustrated with this window. I'm fed up of just being sort of in with the links, in with these. Like, this is my first window in like social media. I've never been on this. I've never done this before. But what I will say is that every day there's some kind of like some sort of how can I put it? There's some sort of meltdown. There's some sort of like an inability to just keep your cool. Really, it's just every day there's something new that people are saying, oh, well, just this is the worst thing ever. Why has he done this? Why has he done that? What is happening with this? What is happening with that? And it's just like, bro, come on, like the same issues you had today, the same issues you had yesterday. Like, how much are you going to twist yourself in knots over the same thing again and again?
I feel like personally, there's a lot more. The reason why I act the way I do, and it's because I've come in obviously to the window with a lot more optimism. And for example, the whole goalkeeper situation, I remember tweeting this, and I don't know if you guys remember, but I remember clearly saying, "Wow, we're actually addressing the goalkeeping situation very early on in this window, and so that we can actually move on to our other targets." The fact that we're here 2 months later, we still haven't addressed that. It makes me think, oh, what the hell was I even tweeting about at that time? And that creates a sense of, for me, it creates a sense of uncertainty and a bit more distrust towards the club and the regime that I had built up built up over the course of the podcast that we're doing. I just kept on believing something that now I feel like I shouldn't have believed, and that's the reason why I feel the way I do. Again, it's obviously the window hasn't finished, so I'm not going to completely have my say on what the regime has done, and that's fair enough. But the fact of the matter is, we haven't still seen a streamlined process as we should have. There's no denying that. It essentially feels like there's no Richard Garlick there, or there's no Tim Lewis there, and that's what kind of worries me, that it feels like there is no difference. When are we going to see a difference? When are we going to see us moving like a Leicester that they run very well in the transfer market? Because that's what you want to see. We want to see the club moving like they actually have a plan we're moving so I don't know, just reactively to the market, and it just doesn't feel nice, man. It just
I
creates
understand, but what my thing has been since the opening of this window is that I really couldn't care less about what goes on until August the 31st. I really don't care. As long as what happens after August the 31st is that we have a squad that can achieve top four, because that's what I want from this season. The people assume that by having patience, you don't have standards. If we don't get top four this season, heads roll. Heads roll. Okay? Things have to go. Have
Can
to
I
change.
just say quickly? I think it has to be a little bit earlier than August the 31st because we're facing Brentford, Chelsea, and City in that time. So it has to be before those games
I
for
understand.
me,
Look,
really.
for you that could be the case, and I understand the argument. But for me, I feel like the first couple of games of the season, I think every team is going to be a bit leggy as well, especially after a Euro season, and especially with teams not like how many games have Man City played, like preseason wise? I don't think many. I think they're playing. They played today. I think they've played one more, and I think Chelsea are going to play one more. I don't think it's a case where everyone's going to come back at full strength. And if you look at our top six record last year, it wasn't bad at all.
It
So
wasn't.
I'm not looking at it like, okay, if we don't go into this Brentford game with a full squad or near a full squad, we're doomed. I just don't feel that way.
The Brentford game, I don't really mind about. I've maintained that I think we are good enough to beat Brentford. Like our squad is good enough. I reckon we could even do it with El Neni, but that was before Party got injured. Let's see what happens with Party. But for Chelsea and
Well,
City,
if
definitely.
just to
When was
saying
the
that
last
with
time we
Party,
beat City?
in the
Did we beat
semi-final
in the league.
on the
Was it in
league,
the league? Yeah.
I'm not sure. I have to look it up. But just
Wasn't the
talking of
one
Thomas Partey, just quickly, just talking to Thomas Partey, he's literally out and about in Paddington. No boot, nothing. So no 4 to 6 weeks. That's absolute rubbish. It's
Yeah, I
not.
saw that too. I was
It's
going to say.
not. It's not. It's not.
So was I.
It's not. Okay, we're all gonna say it now, but yeah, it's no. And it's not gonna be 4 to 6 weeks. If anything, it'll be a week. He'll probably be back for the Brentford game, so that situation can breathe a bit. But the point I was trying, what you're trying to say, and what I'm trying to say as well is, I don't know exactly. I can look it up now as we're talking, but the whole debate about when do we beat certain teams, I think
It was 2015, by the way, in the league.
was it 20? Was it the Cazorla game?
Yeah, that was the last time we beat City
Yeah,
in
it
the
was the
league.
Cazorla
So
game.
going into that City game, I would have
Mm.
thought we would have had central midfield and attacking midfield at least locked down, because I think
Right,
those two positions are so important.
say we went into the
for us
Man City. If we say we went into the Man City game with Partey, El Neni, and Partey, Xhaka, and Smith Rowe.
Madison. Nah, I think we need Madison and Smith Rowe.
I know we need Madison and Smith Rowe, but say Madison's a deadline day.
That's not good enough. That's not good enough. Going in with Partey and Xhaka and Smith
Right,
Rowe.
how many points out of August do you want for it to, by the end of the window, to say that it's been okay because we have this, we have the players
I
in
think
the window.
5 points would be okay. Realistically, I want 9 points. I want 9 points.
Yeah. So
Five
what? So
points
what?
wouldn't be a
A win against
disaster.
Brentford. A win against Brentford and 2 draws.
Yeah, I think in our current state, that would be fantastic.
No, I mean because I'm not talking about I'm talking about obviously signings can come in or whatever. But as long as we have the signings for the season by August 31st, you'd be happy with 5 points for that first 3 games.
No, I'd want 9 points, to be honest.
No, but obviously, but what would you be happy with? I'm not saying what would you want. You'd be happy with 5 points.
5 points.
Z?
Bro, 100% 5 points. I do not want to see 3 on the board. You know why? Because if you look at the games we have afterwards, we've got Tottenham, we got Liverpool, we got, who else do we have? We got Leicester, and we got Palace, and we got Man United the week after. I do not see us like.
Yeah.
We need
September. No. September. I have it up here. September we have Norwich, Burnley, Spurs.
We don't have Burnley at all.
Bro, I have this fixture list right in front of me. It's my home screen.
It's Norwich, Tottenham, Crystal Palace.
Norwich, Burnley. It goes Brentford, Chelsea, Man City, Norwich, Burnley, Spurs.
Yeah, I just missed the whole side. Okay, Burnley. Oh my, that's even worse. Oh God, I don't even want to think about this season already.
Yeah, Norwich, Burnley, Spurs
Oh
is in
man,
September.
Burnley is always
I
a
think
scary one, man.
I'm not gonna lie. September is a lot easier.
Yeah, September is a lot easier.
But this is why we needed a perfect window, because
Yeah,
It is
August is
it's
not
Burnley
easy by any
away as
means.
well. It is Burnley away, so that will be a test. I'm not going to lie to you.
It will be a test, and I think. Listen, we've got a difficult start, and then it does get a lot easier, and then December I think is quite easy as well, isn't it? It's not too crazy. Usually we've faced City and Chelsea in December, the last 2 seasons in a row. So I think that's probably a bit better that our December isn't so crazy when the games are a little bit more backed up. But yeah, this is why the window going perfect was so imperative, because
I'm not
obviously
even
our
talking
first
about.
three
I'm not. I
games.
don't even because I don't think any window's ever perfect. I'm talking about maybe one signing off. I think one
Yeah, I
signing
wouldn't have
off.
minded that. Listen, I said we could maybe sacrifice the right back, because
Yeah,
Callum Chambers could do a job. But at the moment, it's looking like we're not even going to sign a central midfielder. If we went into the Chelsea and City game with a attacking midfielder and a central midfielder signing, along with the other signings that we've just made, so 5 signings in total, I would have been happy, and then we can deal with the last
then we
bit.
agree.
If we get a right back and a goalkeeper, maybe I would have been happy with that. But at the moment, it looks like we may get the attacking midfielder done, but I don't even know if that's going to happen, because it's looking like that deal, especially if it's Madison, that deal's going to be a bit complicated, and it's not going to go quickly. It'll probably go down to the last day or something. Central
I mean,
midfielder
he's
kind
just
of
had a
feels the
kid as
same as
well, so
well, because obviously we need to get rid of Torreira. Are we going to get rid of El Neni? Are we going to keep him? Are we even going to sign a central midfielder? Do you understand? This is why I just kind of feel like everything's a bit up in the
yeah,
air. And I'm just
exactly.
like,
No,
oh,
you know what it is. You know what it is for me is I don't care. I want to see what happens at the end of the window. I just don't care. I can
yeah.
understand there's the frustration. The same, both of you. I can completely understand the frustration, but I just do not care. Like
You see, when you say you don't care, though, does that mean that everything that you probably said in the past about the whole the regime, you don't really care, or you just want to see the players at the end of the window? Is that what you? Is that what you see?
I've said consistently on this. I've said I'm willing to give this regime a chance, and I will evaluate this regime at the end of the window. That's what I've said. I'm pretty consistent on that.
Okay.
So what would be acceptable
What you
points
just
wise
said.
at the end of for you? Did you say
5.
5? So what if we
5.
get 3 points because of our late business?
That's unacceptable.
Okay. So then
I'm
you
not
judge before the
saying
window's closed, though.
no. I'm saying my point is if we come to the end of the window and you've shown at the end of the window that we have the players, then I will accept maybe 3 points. But what I'm saying
Okay.
is I
So what
wouldn't be
you'd
happy.
accept is 3 points, not 5
I'd
points.
accept 3 points, but I
Okay.
would be below that, below 5 points. I'd be sort of just like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
Do you
I
get
think
me?
anything below 5 points is unacceptable, and I'll be absolutely fuming going into next season.
No,
That's me
yeah, I can
personally.
understand that, but like I would
Fuming.
say for me, I'd be happy with 6 and above. 5 points is like my sort of like threshold where I'm like, okay, this is getting a bit rubbish, and then 3 points and below is obviously completely unacceptable. But what I'm saying to you right now is that we need to look at this window in terms of what happens at the end of the window. And I'm not. And the point that Z was making about Garlic and Lewis and all this, and what I was saying, I was excited about them. I also said to everyone was, I'm willing to give them a chance. I'm not here to say they are the future. I'm saying I'm willing to give them a chance. And if it comes to the end of the window, it comes to the end of the season, and they're not performing, then they haven't performed. And it's that simple. Then we have to evaluate our chances. But I'm not going to go and say we have to get them out now because we don't know what they're going to do. I was never that guy, and I was never
Yeah.
the other way
No,
either.
I don't think that's the right way to go. But I think it's going to be a typical. We get 3 points in August, or maybe even 1 point, or maybe even 0 points, and then we go crazy right at the end of the window and sign every single player we need. And it's like, why didn't you not do this before? Or maybe we try and go crazy and we don't even get all the players we need. That would be even worse. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna. I can just see it happening. That's going to be my prediction. Not that
yeah,
we're going to get
yeah.
0
I
points,
understand.
but I feel like it's just not
Not going to be enough. Yeah, I
going to
get
be
it.
enough.
I
I
get it.
haven't seen anything previously for the last decade, over a decade, from this club to suggest that anything we do is enough. And I know it's completely different regimes. I know the whole backroom is different. I know we operate differently. The only consistent part of our club is the owners, and I've seen nothing up until this point to tell me or make me trust that we're going to get all the business done. Which is why I said I'll believe it when I see it, and then I started seeing it, and then I'm starting to not see it now. So I've gone back to I'll believe it when I see it. I'll just believe it when I see it, and I don't think they're doing enough at the moment. So
Yeah.
That's
Arsenal,
fair.
I hope you prove me wrong.
That's fair.
I
Look,
really hope you prove me wrong.
again, it's for me. It's not about being, oh, everything's going horribly or everything's not going to the way I want, which is the truth. It's not going the way I want. It's not gone horribly either. It's not about just trust the process. Everything's great. I evaluate the evidence in front of me, and I'll make my opinion on that. But again, when it comes to windows are very fluid, and things can fall through. Things can advance very quickly. So to sit here and be sort of like, okay, everything's going to go horribly when we don't really know how transfers are operating right now. I mean, I'm sure Z has more information than we do, but like, I'm just saying that I just think that things can move very quickly. Things can be slow build-ups. Things can happen. One thing could lead to different things happening. There's so many different permutations of how this window can go that it's pointless to try and stay up every day and just be like, this could happen, then this could happen, this can happen, or this is not happening. Why isn't this happening? Why this? It's just wait till it's over, then we can evaluate. Because nothing we say now is going to change what's going to happen, is it? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Z, any final comments before I wrap it up, or?
No, man. I feel like I've wanted it enough. And
Can't hear you, Z.
Yeah, I can't hear you again, man.
Can I hear him now, or
Try again.
Try again, fam.
I'm trying. Yeah. Can you guys hear
Yeah,
me
there
now?
you go. Yeah.
Sorry. So no, I feel like I've said enough. Everybody knows my stance on the goalkeeper. I feel like definitely we need to action. We need to action on the goalkeeping situation very quickly. Otherwise, it might just end up being a targeted season where like, for example, with Chelsea, Kepa was targeted. I just don't want to see that again, man. And other than that, man, I'm waiting until the end of the window as well. I definitely do feel like we'll get the signings in. But it's just that, are we going to get the right signings in? That's the only thing I'm worried about. But I guess we just have to wait and see what happens.
Yep. Wave.
Yeah. I think I've said exactly how I feel.
We both have, man. We both
We're
have.
not going to get our signings in. I'm convinced. No. I hope we do, but I just think we're going to fall short because
I can respect that.
Left it too long. I think we're going to fall short in the targets coming in and the targets going out. I think there's going to be a couple stragglers in our squad, and I think we're going to have a couple deficiencies in our squad, and that is something we could not
That's
afford
fair.
this season.
That's fair.
But yeah, that's me.
Just before, I mean, I think I'm quite clear on this. I want the best for the club. I think all of us do here. I mean, we want to see the club do as well as possible, and I think we all believe that the manager is the right manager at this moment in time. I just think that it's a bit redundant consistently being sort of like reactionary to the day's events every day, which I don't think you two are doing, but I just think that you're getting frustrated, and I understand that. But the general environment that is prevalent on social media or around our fan base, whoever you want to talk to, is that everything's going wrong. Everything's going wrong. Every decision that I want is not happening. Every decision the fan base wants isn't happening. And I think, like, here's a perfect example. Every game we've lost or drawn this season, I've always sort of like, in the moment, you're just sort of, oh my God, what is happening? What is happening? What is happening? This is rubbish. I can't believe this is happening. Why is this happening? And then you go back. Like I posted a video yesterday about some of the build up and the pass organization and the passing patterns of Arsenal. And it's just some lovely football we've played ever since January. I'm not talking about before. I'm talking about, obviously, before we did play some lovely football and it went to the wayside. But that, when you look back, even in some of the losses, there's beautiful stuff happening in the game. And I hope that when we look back at this window, we can see that the club weren't being as Z put it, reactive instead of proactive. I hope that's not the case. So on that note, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you to both of you. CK had to go. I think he's had some issues with his internet, and I think he had somewhere to be. But I appreciate his company as always. Priv Arsenal Z as always, and Wave AFC on Twitter as well. Good to see you, lads. And
thank you.
see you soon, buddy. And good night, everyone.